من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين روح وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمين فيها. السلام عليكم. So inshallah, in the fifth talk we will continue. You remember last time we discussed Al-Qayyum, and it's a vast subject, and I hope that you like it. So remember, we start with the farmer challenge. So a farmer who's usually having a garden, mainly he was a gardener, and then suddenly he was surprised with have to look after a big farm, which is an indoor and outdoor farm, and we thought he will struggle because he needs to have knowledge of how to do it and ability. And then in this example, it's not only knowledge and ability, we need to have a continuous care. So these children, if they don't have a carer, these small chicks, if they don't have a carer, they will die, unfortunately. And that's not enough to have somebody who wants to care. This needs to be continuous. In this example, the difference between the orange boy and the white boy, the orange boy kept on caring for the seed until it grown to a flower, while the white boy, he left it with his friends and unfortunately died. So the carer should give a continuous care for things to stay alive. And that's exactly what happened in the big ocean. If in this example, if the ocean go frozen, which I don't know how does it happen, but let's assume it will, everything, it will hold everything in place. So these sea animals all held in place because something is holding them. And we said, if we give the example, this example has its defect. So because if we melt the ice, it will be water and they can live in it. But if we remove the ice, so this ice will change directly to vapor, they will die. So that's the example of what happened in the universe. In the universe, there is one existence, that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the ever living, as we discussed before, and He's the one who's holding everything in place. But all these criteria are the criteria of describing Him. Now, what are the things that describe His abilities and His connection to others? He is the sustainer. He does not need a sustainer, but He sustains everything else around Him. So He's the creator, the sustainer, the carer, and all these characteristics. Now, He gave us from His Spirit. He blew into us from His Spirit. And so if you imagine this ocean and the wave has some of the characters of the ocean, but it has its limitedness, and that's our situation. We are so much limited in this material world, but Allah has given us this power that we can continue with. So if He is Al-Qayyum, we have some of the Qayyumiyah from Him. So what are we Qayyum on? And our exercise last week, and thank you very much for those who replied and gave me their work. It was fantastic. I really appreciated and loved it. Those who replied, they are really good Qayyum. Inshallah, Allah will give you more of Qayyumiyah, and today we will discuss more of it. So each one of us, we wanted to think about how can we be a Qayyum and how can we sustain this Qayyumiyah. What could be responsible for this, for when we are Qayyum, and we wanted the practical examples. I want you guys, for those who answered me, I want you to expand in and out of yourself, your Qayyumiyah. I won't give you more clues. You did very well, but I want you to expand it a bit more and think about it. Inshallah, you will have a vast beauty with that. And something now to know the most important two names of Allah. That first is Al-Hayy and second is Al-Qayyum. If we understand the meaning of these two, we will cover most of the meaning. It's very important, and that's what Allah put it in the master of the verses in the Surah Al-Kursi, Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyum. So in Al-Hayy, he's describing himself, and in Al-Qayyum he describes his actions. So any name describing him and himself is from Al-Hayy, and everything describing his action with his creatures is Al-Qayyum. So they cover actually all his names. So the question is, how can we differentiate when we come to one of the names of Allah? How can we differentiate it's to Al-Hayy group or to Al-Qayyum group? So it can describe, so to differentiate whether these names is related to Al-Hayy or Al-Qayyum, there are two rules. The first one, look at the name. If it describes Almighty and does not describe an opposite to its name. For example, if I tell you that Allah is living, can He be dead?
No.
No. So this is part of Al-Hayy. If I tell you He is merciful, can He be not merciful?
No.
No. So it's part of Al-Hayy, right? While if I tell you that Allah gives life, can He take life?
Yes.
So this is part of Al-Qayyum, because He can be this or that. So whenever you have one of the names which is possible for Allah to have the opposite, it's part of His action rather than of describing Himself. Is that clear? Yep. Right. The second one, if we assume that there is nothing in the universe but Him Almighty. So if that's the situation and the name is still working, it's for Him. For example, if I say that Allah can give rizq, can give sustenance, and if there is nothing for Him to give sustenance to, is that describing Him? No, apparently you didn't get me. I'll try to explain it more. So if Allah is alone and there is totally no creature, and I said that Allah is the one who gave life, is that something you understand? There is nothing Allah is giving life to.
Yes, it doesn't mean anything.
Exactly, it doesn't mean anything. So the other criteria, if actually His action is applied for something, while if the name is related only to Him, so it's part of Al-Hayy. Let's practice that. I'll give you a name and knowledgeable. What do you think? It's which group? Is it from Hayy or Qayyum? Can Allah?
Hayy.
Right, because Allah cannot be the opposite, right? He should be knowledgeable. Yeah, correct. So it's part of this. What about gift giver?
Qayyum.
Qayyum. That's quite right, because He can also not give. The great? Hayy. Wow, you are so clever. That was so easy. I thought I would make it more difficult. The guide? What? Qayyum. Good, because also He can misguide. The healer? Qayyum. Excellent. And the just? Hayy. Good, because He cannot be unjust. Wow, so good. I'm very happy with that. So that would tell you why Surah Al-Kursi is the master of all the surahs, because it has covered the most important two names, Al-Hayy and Al-Qayyum. And that's why they said Ismullah Al-A'zam, the greatest name of Allah, is in Surah Al-Kursi. And that's the important of it. And you know, if you know Surah Ismullah Al-A'zam, you can move the mountain. So don't dream of it now. You need to live that. Right? Okay. Let's go further. Now, have we tried to be Qayyum yet? I mean, I know that some of you have. I know some of you have not. Really, we need to it's really important for you to start feeling, because it has so much benefit. For example, I'll give you one benefit of it. For example, Allah is Qayyum for us, right? When you have a quarrel with somebody, or somebody made you angry, for example, a young child made you angry, try to dislodge yourself from yourself and see what Allah will do in this situation. Because Allah always sees you. How many times you disobeyed Him? Hopefully not much, but you've done it, I'm sure. So in that situation, would He get angry on you? Or as part of His Qayyumiyyah, He will care for you? If you think about this in all our life, Qayyum will make us live totally different life. Did you get this example?
Yes.
Yes. Alright. So do we know everything about them? Because if you want to be Qayyum, for example, if somebody wants to look after a pet and they don't know much about the pet, how can they care for it? Then do we know everything about the pet's needs? Well, we do. We need, right? If I say I just give it money, give food once a day and it needs more, I don't know much and I'm not really a Qayyum. Because just imagine if Allah decide, and He will never do that, decide to give us food only once a day. I will leave it to you. How do you feel? Now, do we adjust time to their time? Has He ever left us? If we have a pet, do we leave this pet? I mean, it's up to us, but all these are part of the Qayyumiyyah. So some of Almighty Qayyum criteria. To understand Qayyum, we need to know more of the criteria. I'll give you this example. So this is a really hard worker. You can see he does everything. He's a handyman and he does everything. Compare this with this hard working man. He's really hard working, right? Now, do you think it's justice to give them both the same amount of money?
No.
Why not?
Yes, yes.
Well done, right, Yasir? Why should I do that?
Because what's it called? A hard worker. When he was young, he didn't work a lot. Like he spent all of his time like kick back. He didn't really study. While this man here, the lazy worker, he studied in school. And he got to a job where he doesn't have to work.
Right. This is very interesting perspective. Well, okay. I should have then used another example. If we say that both of them worked hard, but one of them lazy and one of them hard worker, but they are both human, they are in the same position, is it of justice to give them the same amount of money?
No.
No, because people do argue that part of the justice that we have to spread things equally. Do you accept that?
Yep. Yep.
Why? Because equal distribution is not right. Because if you give these two equally, as you said before, it was not just. So what about this? Okay, what about this? What do you think? Shall I give all these workers the same amount of money?
No.
This blue one is naughty, isn't he? He's not doing anything. But all of them working in the same company. Should I give them the same?
No.
I shouldn't, right? So part of the justice, I mean, from these examples, part of the justice is what?
You give each person
To give according to what they do or what they deserve, rather than equally. I'll give you another example. This is a child, right? A very nice one, very big eyes, and there's an adult beside him. If I believe that everything should be equal, so both of them I have to give them that amount of food. Is that right?
kill the child.
Yeah, who's that very interested man?
That's Alex. Sorry,
Right. So you want to feed the child a chicken and a Big Mac. Right. I don't think it's fair. Actually, we are killing the child by this. But really, if we thought about equality, this is equality, and that's not real. This is not good justice, I tell you. Now, there is a boy who is so much spoiled, and he wants everything, and the father cannot cope. I mean, it's really trying. I'm not talking of any of you. You are, inshallah, not part of this. But he wants to fly a plane. And the father trying and trying, but he's so much loving father, and he thought, well, I cannot refuse anything to my child. So he let him go on a plane. What would you expect to happen?
Crash.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the plane stopped and he's gone. So this father, was he a caring father?
No.
Because really, although he tried to care for the children, to his child, but the reality is, he was caring to himself. He wants his child to feel okay about him. So he's thinking about himself. Do you think Allah will do that with us?
No.
Not really. It's not part of His justice. So I hope now I can reach to get this to you. Allah is just. So the justice of Allah is not by giving everyone the same. It's quite different than our justice. It's by putting things in the right place, by giving people the right thing, and giving each one what deserve and what can cope with. Because with the child, if you give them, although they deserve everything, but if you give them more, you are damaging them more. So this is not right. Do you think of any other example in our life? Alright, I'll leave that for you to think about it, because there are so many. But really, understanding this will make us so much contented with what Allah does. For example, if you work hard and work hard and work hard to get something and then you don't get it, you will feel frustrated, don't you?
Yes.
Right. But if you think about it, that probably Allah knows better, and He didn't make it to happen to you because probably it's not good, that would make this frustration go away. Doesn't mean that we should not work. No, definitely we should work hard to do what we want. But at the end, when we don't reach it, it's okay. Once we believe in the justice of God, we think what happened to us is just. And that would make our life much easier. So this is one aspect. The other aspect in His Ayyumiyya, He does not change His rules. Have you ever been responsible for a group? And when something doesn't fit well and you keep on changing the rules, and sometimes to fit your team so you can win. Have you ever done that? No, you are so just. You don't do that. Fair enough. Right. Well, I have to say I did see someone I know who did it before. But I'll give you this example. If you have two universities, one university, they are very serious. These are really serious, and they want their students to do well and everything. The other university here, so this is an exam time. What are they doing?
Calling.
Yeah, they are enjoying their time. Would you do that in the exam?
No.
So probably they are doing that because the dean is so good. The dean of this university is so merciful. He would not let anybody to fail. What do you think about this university?
It's bad.
It's bad, isn't it? If you are an employer, would you employ anybody coming out of this university?
No.
So this dean, what did he do to the university? Did he do anything good to it?
No.
No. He actually dismantled the whole system. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not dismantle the system for some lazy people. If somebody Allah has given us 124,000 messenger to tell us about the rules of and the system. And then if somebody who is lazy, who doesn't want to follow that, Allah will not change the system just because that one decided not to work. The system will work on them. So the important thing in the Qayyumiyyah of Allah, He does not change His rules. Another part, a driver. These two drivers, who would you send your children with?
The top one.
The top one, because the other one get dozy, and if somebody is sleepy in the road, what happened? Yes. Does he mean it? Did he want to be sleepy? No. But on the other side, can he afford to do that? He's not really, because he's responsible. So a responsible person should not do that. On the other example, a guard. Which one of these two guards you would trust? Second one. So you trust that one. Good on you. So I can assure you that you will have a real problem. The problem is if I have a store and I leave a guard and the guard decides he's tired and he has to go to sleep. What do you think? Does he mean it? Well, apparently he meant it. So the first one was a dozing, did not mean to do it. The other one, he slept and he meant it. And both of them are dangerous. Probably the first one is more dangerous because he does not realize he's doing something wrong. The second one is dangerous because he meant it and he left those guys do whatever they like to do. And that's exactly what happened with us. When part of our Qayyumiyyah, we don't care for what we have to do, this will be stolen. So although the driver and the guard are both alive and they have the knowledge and the ability and they wanted to look. So remember, the Qayyumiyyah, you need to have knowledge, you have to be capable, you have to be caring. But what went wrong with them?
They're not organized.
They are not organized. You are quite right. And they are not organized because they have limitation. This material body has limitation. So if you really want somebody to care, you need that one who is not limited at all. The one who can look after the universe, he should be the one who is not going to sleep, is not going to be tired at all. And that's why Allah continued, Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum la ta'khudhu sinatun wa la nawm. No slumber can seize him, nor sleep. This is very important criteria. So it's not enough to be hayy and qayyum, but you need to have this ongoing ability to care. This is an ongoing caring that we have to concentrate on. Now if we want to translate this to us, the qayyum that we need to try to be in is, if we want to be, and inshallah will be qayyum on something, we need to have the knowledge. So if I am looking after a pet or a plant, I need to do some study about it, don't I? And then I have to rise to the occasion. If I'm caring after something, I need to be capable. I need to be trained. I need to really practice that to the level that I can do it. And that's not enough. I have to be just. It's not enough. It's not enough to give whatever they like. I need to give the right amount. And I should not care that they may not like me for it. But I do love what I look after, and I will give the right thing. And also I should not be biased, because if I am biased and give more to one more than the other, I'm destroying those who I'm biased to. And really I need to be responsible. If I cannot do something, I should not go to it. Or right from beginning I put the safety measures. All this is part of Qayyumiyyah. The Qayyumiyyah of Allah covers all that. we may not be able to cover that, but if we keep it in our mind, inshallah we can reach it. So what's the weekly exercise? Now we have actually covered very important subject. We covered Allah, He's the one, He's the living, He is the self-subsistent and taking care of others, He's the Qayyum, and He is the knowledgeable. All this you will find it in Dua Rajab. So this is part of Dua Rajab, and I want you to ponder around it. Try to practice, if you don't mind, to take 1 minute after Salah and try to ponder about the words, or even talk to God, because that would help you a lot. So in this, what Imam's teaching us to say, O you whose your status is not limited by anything, so we can ask how are you, and how are you going to control things? Or your position is determined, so we can ask where. We cannot ask you where. Or you who's veiled from every eye, or you who's everlasting and eternally self-subsistence and knower of all that's known. It's beautiful. It covers really all what we discussed in that dua. And the last thing, I want you to explain how is your Qayyum, not what you choose to be Qayyum on, now is going to be. Now we discuss more criteria to Qayyum. How is that different from last week? Try to think about it. It may not be, you may not be able to increase your Qayyumiyya at this stage, but if you put a plan to it, inshallah you can reach. Any question? No? Silence? Alright. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.